farting about some stuff in the shed, and I fucking locked myself in. So if I do get hungry, there's some Dulux Trade High Gloss and some screws and some fucking bleach. Got a screwdriver, just unlock the fucking, just take it off. DIY, baby.
Patricia, darling, I'll tell you once and I'll tell you again, poached eggs are for socialists only. Oh, hello. I would like, if I may, to tell you a story. This is The Miller's Tale by Geoffrey Chaucer. Some time ago there was a rich old codger who lived in Oxford and who took a lodger. The fellow was a carpenter by trade, his lodger a poor student who had made some studies in his arts, but all his fancy had turned to astrology and geomancy, and he could deal with certain propositions and make a forecast under some conditions about the likelihood of droughts or showers. This lad was known as Nicholas the Gallant, and making love in secret was his talent. He rented a small chamber in the Kip, all by himself, without companionship.
It's just like I remember.
This carpenter had married a new wife not long before, and loved her more than life.
Say hello to my girlfriend, Charity Titters.
She was a girl of 18 years of age. Jealous he was, and kept her in a cage, for he was old and she was wild and young. He thought himself quite likely to be stung. He might have known, were Cato on his shelf, and man should marry someone like himself. However, he had fallen in the snare, and he had to bear his cross as the others bear. She was a fair young wife, her body as slender as any weasel's.
No, not now, not now. Wait till we get to the booth.
And certainly she had a lecherous eye. This gallant Nicholas one day began to romp and make a pass at this young woman.
Love me all at once or I shall die.
Where are your manners? Take away your paws.
Then Nicholas began to plead his cause, and spoke so fair in preferring what he could, that in the end she promised him she would, swearing she'd love him, with a solemn promise to be at his disposal by St. Thomas, when she could spy an opportunity.
My husband is so full of jealousy. Unless you watch your step and hold your breath, I know for certain it'll be my death. So keep it well under your hat.
Oh, never mind about a thing like that. A scholar doesn't have to stir his wits so much to trick a carpenter.
There was a parish clerk, serving the church, whose name was Absalom. His hair was all in golden curls and shone. God bless my soul, he was a merry knave.
Take 5, Mrs. Fish.
He played a 2-stringed fiddle, did it proud, and he sang a high falsetto, rather loud. This Absalom, so jolly in his ways, would bear the censer round on holy days, and cense the parish women. He would cast many a love-lorn look before he passed, especially at this carpenter's young wife. Looking at her would make a happy life. She was so neat, she was so sweet, she was so lecherous. In taking the collection, Absalom would find his heart was set in such a whirl of love. That evening, when the moon was shining bright, he ups with his fiddle, and off he tours, on the lookout for any paramours. Larky and amorous away he strode, until he reached the carpenter's abode. On his fiddle he plucked a tuneful string. This carpenter awoke and heard him sing.
Alison, wife, you hear him? Those Absalom, chanting away under our chamber wall.
Yes, John. God knows I hear it all.
Were he as bold as brass, she was in love with the gallant Nicholas. However Absalom might blow his horn, his labour won him nothing but her scorn.
And with a flute up his nose, Ralph Wiggum.
That's some nice floating, boy.
And so it happened that one Saturday, when the old carpenter was safe away, Nicholas and Alison agreed at last what was to be done. Nicholas was to exercise his wits on her suspicious husband's foolish fits. Hiding in his room 1 whole week and a Saturday, without a sound from Nicholas, who lay upstairs and ate or slept as pleased him best. This foolish carpenter was lost in wonder. At Nicholas, what could have got him under?
Let's go shake the study out of him, I guess.
He began to heave and press against the door. Happened the old man was strong, so it didn't take him very long to heave it off its hinges. Down it came. Still as a stone lay Nicholas.
Nicholas, hey, look down. Is that a fashion to act? Wake up and think upon Christ's passion.
The dandy Nicholas began to sigh.
All the world be cast away. Now, John, believe you me, I found out by my astrology and looking at the moon when it was bright, that Monday next, a quarter way through night, rains is to fall in torrents, such a scud will be twice as bad as Noah's flood. This world, in just about an hour, shall all be drowned in such a hideous shower, and all mankind a total loss of life.
The carpenter exclaimed.
Alas, my wife, my little Alison, she did drown.
And in his grief he very near fell down.
Is there no remedy for this?
Thanks be to God, there is. If you will do exactly what I say, and don't start thinking up some other way to save her yet, and save myself and you. Haven't you heard how Noah was saved too, when God forewarned him and his sons and daughters that all the world should sink beneath the waters? I want you, now and at once, hurry off to fetch a shallow tub or kneading trough for each of us, but see that they are large and such as we can float in like a barge. When the tubs have been collected, 3. That's 1 for her and yourself and me. Then hang them in the roof below the thatching, so that no one may discover what we're hatching. When you were finished doing what I said and stowed the victuals in them overhead, also an axe to hack the ropes apart, so when the water rises, we can start. This is the Lord's dear will, so have a care. Your wife and you must hang some way apart, for there must be no sin before we start. No more in longing looks than in the deed. Those are your orders. Now off with you, Godspeed.
This silly carpenter then went on his way, muttering to himself.
That's the day.
A marriage can't be reconciled in a few hours, Homer. It takes a whole weekend to do that.
The carpenter did as instruct. Monday, when it drew to night, he shut his door and doused the candlelight and made quite sure all was as it should be. And shortly up they clambered, all the 3, silent and separate. They began to pray. The carpenter fell asleep, and Alison said,
Oh, Nicolay!
Came Nicholas and Alison, and sped softly downstairs, without a word, to bed. And where this carpenter was wont to be, the revel started, and the melody.
It's finally time for romance.
Absalom had asked a neighbouring cloisterer what had become of John the carpenter. The fellow drew him out of church to say, Don't know, not been at work since Saturday. Absalom was a jolly lad and light of heart. He thought,
I shall see Alison and tell her all my love longing, and I can hardly miss some favour for her, at least a kiss.
The time came, he gave a cough.
Alison Honeycomb, are you around? Sweet Cinnamon, my pretty little bird. Sweetheart, wake up and say a little word.
You go away. There's no kiss here for you. I love another, and why shouldn't I too? I want to get some sleep. You go to hell.
Alas, true love is always mocked and girded at, so kiss me if you can't do more than that.
And if I do, will you be off?
Said she.
Promise you, darling.
Get ready then. Wait, I'll put something on.
This Absalom went down upon his knees. He thought,
And by degrees there may be more to come. The plot may thicken. Mercy, my love, your mouth my chicken.
She flung the window open, then in haste.
Have done, come on, no time to waste. The neighbours here are always on the spy.
Absalom started wiping his mouth dry. Dark was the night as pitch, as black as coal. And out the window, out she put her whole. And Absalom, so fortune framed the farce, put up his mouth and kissed her naked ass.
Never have I heard such gratuitous use of the word but.
Make him stop! Make him stop!
He quite knew well a woman has no beard, yet something rough and hairy had appeared.
Can that be you? Tee-hee!
She cried and clapped the window too. Off went poor Absalom, sadly through the dark.
God's body, That was something like a joke.
Absalom, overhearing what he spoke, bit on his lips and nearly threw a fit. So, weeping like a child that has been whipped, he turned away. Across the road he slipped and called on Gervase. Gervase was a blacksmith.
We work hard, we play hard.
Gervase, open up the door, come on.
What's that? Who's there?
It's me, Absalom.
What? Absalom? By Jesus, blessed tree, you're early up. Hey, Benedicte, what's wrong? Some jolly girls like as not has coaxed you out and set you on trot.
Absalom offered no debate. He had a good deal more upon his plate than Gervase knew and said,
Would it be fair to throw that poker in the chimney there? The hot one, see it? I've got a job to do. It won't take long. I'll bring it back to you.
He held the red-hot poker.
Hot stuff coming through.
And left the smithy softly with this tool.
Who's knocking?
Said Alison.
I'll warrant it's a thief.
Why no? It's your own Absalom, my sweetie thing. Look what I've brought you. It's a golden ring. I'll give it to you, darling, for a kiss.
Now Nicholas had risen for a piss, and thought he could improve upon the jape, and make him kiss his arse ere he escape, and opening the window with a jerk, stuck out his arse, a handsome piece of work, buttocks and all as far as to the haunch. Said Absalom, all set to make a launch.
Speak, pretty bird. I know where thou art.
This Nicholas at once let fly a fart, as loud as if it were a thunderclap. He was nearly blinded by the blast, the poor chap. But his hot iron was ready. With a thump, he smote him right in the middle of his rump. Such was the pain, he thought he must be dying, and mad with agony, he started crying.
What the hell? For heaven's love.
The carpenter, startled from his sleep above, and hearing shouts for water and a thud, thought,
Heaven help us! Here comes Noah's flood.
And up he sat, and with no more ado, he took his axe and he smote the ropes in two, and down went everything. He didn't stop to eat his bread and ale, but came down flop upon the floor, and fainted right away. Well, up started Alison and Nicolay, and shouted,
Help! Murder!
The neighbours all came running up in the heat, and stood there staring at this wretched man. He lay there fainting, pale beneath his tan. His arm in falling had been broken double, but still he was obliged to face his trouble.
No TV and no beer make Homer something something.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
With powerful oaths they swore the fellow down, and he was held for mad by all the town. And every one among them laughed and joked, and so the carpenter's wife was truly poked, as if his jealousy to justify, and Absalom had kissed his nether eye, and Nicholas is branded on the bum, and God bring us all to kingdom come.